We're good. Okay. Welcome to episode 76. I'm here with Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Ivan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, can you let our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
So, my name is Michelle, and I am in my 40s. I live in LA now. I just moved to LA a couple years ago from Washington, D.C., where I lived for like 20s Coast, which is holistic psychology, helping people live a life that they wish for by learning to live intentionally. And then we also just started a business over here in LA.
Cool. Yeah, so let's take a dive through memory lane. Let's dive in and talk about a little bit of your childhood. How was growing up for you and all of that jazz?
Yeah, so I grew up in a biracial family. So my mom is Indian, my dad is black. I grew up in mostly white neighborhoods where there weren't a lot of kids that looked like me. My dad is a grandmaster, a black belt in Taekwondo, uh,
Down.
and his hands were literally a lethal weapon. My mom is kind of like in the car with me right now.
Yeah,
She's kind of like what you would see like a Indian uh domestic wife. So she's like 4'10". So there was definitely a cultural divide there. And then yeah, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is like, the Midwest. And yeah, was a gymnast, a competitive gymnast throughout my life. Started practicing yoga when I was in college. And then really saw the connection between psychology and yoga as I started to practice more yoga. So I wanted to start a business that really combined yoga and psychology. And so that's what made me want to start my company, which is called Moksha Living. And it really integrates psychology with the mind body connection. So understanding that our health is not just about, our mental health is not just about, thinking well. It's really about taking care of the physically, mentally.
Yeah, for sure. And like, did you have like some kind of limiting beliefs growing up, like as you were finding your identity? How's that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like one of the limiting beliefs that I had growing up, because there was not a lot of kids that looked like me, I had a lot of limiting beliefs about like belonging, and just like not feeling enough, not feeling like smart enough, not feeling good enough, and then my family not feeling black enough for the black side of my family, not feeling Indian enough for the Indian side of my family. So there was just a lot of not enough of enoughness.
How? Yeah, so cool. That must have been really difficult for you, but how are you able to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think that's like it's taken time, and I think you know part of overcoming them has been about really seeing the diversity in all people, and that even though I might be looking at the ways that I'm different and basically comparing myself to other people, that everybody's got something that makes them different, and that kind of learning to see that, like, almost like trying to see not seeing, but trusting other people's experiences of me, that, like, I had friends
Yeah,
that liked me, and that I felt very accepted in a sense of belonging in my friends and in my relationships, that made me know that, like, I was actually valued for being
yeah,
different, that I don't have
yeah,
to be like everybody else to be be
yeah. You're
accepted.
unique in your own way.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself now?
I definitely think that I've like accepted and embraced the
Yeah,
uniqueness part of myself a little bit more. Yeah, like I never used to wear my hair curly as a kid, and now I just feel like, okay, like I can't keep fighting. This is what it is what it looks like. So just kind of like allowing myself to be different, and accept and embrace the things that make me unique, and stop comparing myself to other people.
exactly. You're comparing yourself to your own self. That's where the real growth and transformation happens.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And how did you start Moksha Living? Like, what did that journey look like for you?
Well, actually, I was working for another business, and it was a psychology practice, and I just kept having conflict with my boss, and I was planning to become a manager at that company, and having conflict with her. And then she tried to tell me one day, like, decide arbitrarily she
Yeah.
wasn't going to pay me for something. And so actually, I was laid off. And so,
Oh.
yeah, I was laid off. And, but I felt like because I was becoming a partner, I had everything that I needed to start my own business. So I decided to start my own business. And my clients that I was not supposed to take with me, they all came with me to my new business. Um, and so I just said, like, I'll just start and see how it works out. I still had another full-time job. So I left my job. I started my own business in October of 2009, and then I left my full-time job in January of 2010.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And it's been thriving so far.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's been thriving.
Yeah. So, what kind of inspired you? There's a moment or someone in your life that told you to take the plunge, or you thought within yourself, like gut feeling?
Yeah, well, honestly, like my mom has really always encouraged me to like prioritize my education and to finish school. So I went to grad school right after I finished college, and she and her encouragement. And then one of my professors in college, he was the one that told me like he's like you should be a social worker. And I'm like I don't. Why would I want to be a social worker? Like they just help
Yeah.
people that are poor, and I want to make. I don't want to be like I don't want to be poor. But he was like, you should become a social worker. He said, go to like the really good school and become a social worker. He said, because they can work anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's what made me decide to go to school to get my social work degree. And I still think that it was one of the best decisions because I've never been without a job. I've never, we're highly employable, may not make the best pay, but you can advocate. So yeah, so
Mm.
that was kind of like got me on the path. And then I think just like my own practice and my own teachers through yoga, and then also like going to India and studying with, a lot of gurus there.
Yeah.
It's really about the spiritual practice that kind of keeps me.
Yeah. So, what are some of the tips if you want to start? If someone wants to start in their business venture versus spiritual journey, do you have some takes on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like that's a lot of the clients that I work with are trying to find some more meaning and purpose in their career. And what I find is that they're trying to like work on that part. Like, I need to get a new job. They're like looking for jobs, or they're thinking about looking for jobs. They're doing a lot of thinking, they're looking for jobs. And they're not really focusing on themselves and figuring out what they want. And so I say that, like, there's before you can figure out your job, you have to first figure out yourself. And you have to like figure out what you want. And you can't figure out what you want if you don't really like trust yourself. So I say that like the first part of like aligning your life and your career with purpose is learning to trust yourself. And you can't trust yourself if you're not taking care of yourself. And so the self care has to be about the mind, the body, and the spirit. So incorporating that self care. And the other thing that I think people don't think about when they are thinking about their career is relationships. The relationships are one of the biggest things that I think make or break somebody's experience in a job. The people that you work with, your boss, your manager, like who you interact with on a day to day, that will make or break your work experience. So I actually say that like cultivating healthy relationships personally and professionally will actually create the right energy that will put you in alignment with the career that you're trying to make. And again, purpose. I think that people want like when people start feeling better, like physically, mentally, emotionally, they
Yeah.
automatically want to like serve a greater good. So I think that like when you start gelling with people that also want to serve a greater good, you're going to start creating things together.
Yeah, like elevating. What was it? Elevating. You can elevate through the 5 people you hang out on a
Yeah,
daily basis.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
The five people that you spend the most time with.
Yeah, and I think these days meditation is really highly needed. Like people are like, yeah, what do you think on the subject? Like people are really struggling these days. I think they're getting more into yoga and meditation more than ever since after COVID, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, because COVID like made it. We were all isolated for a while, so it's like, okay, well, now I have no choice but to be okay with the space and the silence. Or I have to be okay. I have to get space and silence for myself because I'm always around people, and I'm like, quarantined in a house with people that you wouldn't have chosen to live with, not spend that much time with. So yeah, I think like meditation is actually really hard. And it took me 10 years to be able to sit and meditate. I started my meditation practice walking. Actually, I had a Buddhist monk that was my trekking guide when I did
Oh,
a trek to base camp. And my trekking guide was also a retired monk. So that's how I learned how to meditate. And took me 10 years after that point of walking meditation to learn and be comfortable sitting.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, a quick fact. I'm from Nepal. I was born in Nepal.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
Okay. What part?
yeah, yeah. Kathmandu.
That's where, I mean, yeah, that's where I went.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my professor that I told you about that encouraged me to go to grad school, he's Nepalese.
Ah, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, it's crazy. I actually learned meditation and get to ground. It's been 3 years now. I'm pretty getting good at it, but started during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say getting good at it is for you?
Uh, so for me, when I meditate, when I know I'm in the sense of the right direction, is if I can go um inside myself really well and stay centered and not get disturbed. But more so like when I'm in a meditative state, like I see like a light. I don't actually like a sunlight coming down on me, and then I just automatically smile for some reason, and that's when I know it's going well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm used to like guided meditation, so uh, yeah, with the soothing voices, and mostly do guided.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that experience of the light is one that really, I mean, that really resonates with me. And I've shared that practice, just like, imagining a ball of light above you and then like moving down. Like I found that was actually a practice given to me by like a Reiki healer, and I've shared it with other people. So it's like there's this almost a transpersonal experience of light that many
Yeah,
people can connect to.
yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, it's crazy how meditation can really do those things, but the hard part is, being honest here. In the mornings, I can do that, and throughout the day, I'm like overthinking, and thoughts keep on building up. It's like, I'm doing this, but what? It's,
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually I think that is most commonly the experience that people meditating have. Me, I mean, sometimes I have that experience too, but I think that normally like, oh my God, I'm trying to meditate, I'm trying to clear my mind, but then I'm thinking all these things, I'm doing it wrong, and then we kind of give up. But I think that's the practice, right? Like
yeah,
learning how to be with that.
come back to yourself even throughout the day to connect
Yeah,
with your breath. We forget to breathe sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes that mindful awareness is like, okay, like I'm having a lot of thinking right now.
Yeah, yeah. And then how did this journey, so through school, and has this journey been? Has it been fulfilling for you?
Yeah, it's been tremendously fulfilling, and I think that what I don't think I've ever been a person that's wanted to like work a lot of like go to the office and have to be in meetings. So just having the schedule that I want, doing the work that I want, working with the clients that I want to work with. And I think that so the company that I have is called Moksha. And I think that my role in business has been one of service. So anytime I try to like say like, oh well, I'm gonna like, decide I'm gonna make this much money, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna scale, like, and I start like kind of making it about me, um, like something slows down or just gets redirected. But as long as I keep like making it about like service and like I'm in service to something bigger, and the bigger thing is moksha at this point, like things
Yeah.
flow. And it attracts the people that are in support of it without me having to do it directly.
Yeah, that's not there yet. That's a bit of the struggle for me. Um, Still having that 9 to 5, but trying to pivot in a way that aligns to my schedule, and it's pretty tough. But I think I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hardest part. I think is the time. I think that that's why like most of the work that I talk with people about moksha is really about intention, and like being intentional is really about you.
Yeah,
Time is one of your most valuable.
yeah. It's like, oh, you use ChatGPT. When should you post this? When do you engage? And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time
yeah,
and timing.
for sure, for sure. Amazing, amazing. Thanks for all your insights and thoughts. To end off our segment, what would you say Limitless means to you?
I think limitless means constantly pushing the boundaries of your existence. So, I think values work is a really big part of, what I talk about with people, but, what your values are that you live by, and the values that you want to live by are two different things sometimes. So kind of like doing a little check in, like, am I living in with integrity to what's most valuable to me, and how I communicate, behave, and feel.
What does it look like to you?
Sorry, you cut out me for a second. Keep that again.
Yeah, what does that look like for you, like personally? What you said Limitless was.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, like I can give an example. That like pushing the boundaries of my existence means that sometimes what I want and what is in integrity to my values may not be what's comfortable. So, like for example, um, I was living in DC a couple years ago. Yeah, I still have a business and a house in DC. I still live in DC, but I was spending most of my time in DC, and I loved it. I love like friends there. I had the lifestyle that I want, but my mom had moved to LA, and I have a business in DC and a house. My whole life is in DC, and I just love it. I love DC. My mom moved to
Yeah.
LA, and I was like thinking about my values. And my values at the time were like, health and fitness and happiness and fun. But I really thought about like, what can I not live without? And like
Mm.
realizing that my mom is getting older. She's got probably a good like 10, maybe 15 years left. Good years left in her life. That like what I decided was like, even though I love fun, I love fitness, I love my friends, I love my lifestyle, is that like I wouldn't be able to live without being close to my mom for the
Yeah.
last 10 years of her life. And so I decided at that time that like even though it was hard, even though it was uncomfortable, even though it wasn't like fun or what I wanted to do, that like I had to do it. I had to move. And so now I live in LA. And my mom is in the car with me right now. But it's like, it's sacrifice, that is, I didn't really think that was part of my fun lifestyle, but, because I identified that family for now is going to be the most important thing, that you got to align everything with that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. My mom's a big important part of my life to my mom and my dad. For sure. Where can our listeners or audiences find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Moksha Living. And then we also have a website, which is www.mokshaliving.org. And Moksha is spelled M as in Mary, Oksha, and it's a Sanskrit word. It means liberation from that which holds you.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you for more insights on breaking limits and reaching your full potential.